Hi guys, it's Matthew here. Welcome back to another video on my channel today. And in today's video, guys, The Conjuring Last Rites has been released this last weekend, as a matter of fact. So now it's time to stop and rank all 10 all 10 movies in the Conjuring universe, from worst to best, as a matter of fact. Be sure to let me know your guys' ranking down below in the comment section, because we'll have a great discussion about it. My list is not the right list, it's just my list, and I would love to see your list as well, as a matter of fact. But yeah, guys, I really enjoy this franchise. I watched all of these for my first time last year, and then did a ranking in January, because it was pretty recent, because I watched them in the nick of time last year, and then I wasn't able to post a ranking till this year in January, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I'm really it was so fun to go back and rewatch these movies, and I enjoyed this franchise as a whole. But let me know what. But yeah, guys. So yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up that intro. As a matter of fact, be sure you hit that like button as well as that red subscribe button. But most importantly, make sure you press the notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And those of you guys that are new to the channel, I do more than just movies and TV. I also do haul and unboxing videos, video games, and Lego related stuff. I do all sorts of stuff like that here on the channel. So if you guys like to watch anything like that on YouTube and want to show your support, be sure to go check out my channel, because there will definitely be something in there for you to enjoy, as a matter of fact. But with all that being said, though, guys, enjoy the video. Let's get started. Okay, so coming in last place at number 10, I'm gonna go with The Curse of La Llorona. So my ranking has has changed a little bit in the middle, but the worst movie in this franchise has not changed for me at all. I am not a fan of The Curse of La Llorona at all. It is canon that this is part of the Conjuring universe, but this is not a very good movie, in my personal opinion. And I honestly don't know a single person that likes this movie. I know a lot of people don't have this movie in last place, but in my personal opinion, this is like the worst. This is easily the worst movie in this franchise, because it just doesn't feel like it's connected to the Conjuring universe, because they set up like this whole group of characters in this movie that never get mentioned or heard of again, and they don't and they're not connected to like any past story in the Conjuring universe. I know in like Annabelle Creation, we never see those characters again, but they were part of the origin story from where Annabelle came from. But with this movie, there's nothing memorable about these characters at all. This movie, I don't understand why this movie was even exist. I actually do not understand the point of this movie, because usually when we get a movie that's not a Conjuring movie, it's usually a spin-off. It's usually a spin-off for like another demon that was introduced in one of the Conjuring in one of the Conjuring movies. And in just this movie specifically, it doesn't feel like anything that's created. It is set between the first and the second Conjuring. So I guess if the Warrens were still involved with this movie would probably be a little bit better, and it would feel more canon into the Conjuring universe. But there's nothing really memorable about this movie other than the main lead actress. I can't remember her name. I always forget her name, but she plays Velma in the live action Scooby Doo movies. But yeah, this movie, this is just easily the worst movie in this franchise for me. Up next at number 9, I'm gonna go with The Nun 2. So now, I hear a lot of mixed reviews on this movie. Like, I know a lot of people say that this movie is better than the first The Nun, but I 100% I 100% disagree. There's nothing. This is another one that I don't see anything. I don't see the appeal of this movie or the whole point on why this sequel existed. Like if I didn't dislike The Curse of La Llorona so much, this one would be in last place. But the reason why it's not in last place is because I don't find this one quite as boring, and this movie actually feels like it's connected to the Conjuring universe. And to be honest, I did not think this movie was necessary. I didn't think doing a sequel to The Nun was necessary. The first Nun should have just been a one and a done, because that was to explore Valak the Nun that was introduced in The Conjuring 2. It was supposed to explore more of her origin and backstory, but it didn't really end on a cliffhanger, and it didn't really end like there was more to be explored with this character. So because of that, I didn't think The Nun 2 was a necessary movie to do. I just do not get why this movie existed. This is another one I find boring, but like I said, I don't find it quite as boring as The Nun 2. So I meant The Curse of La Llorona, excuse me. But yeah, this movie was just not necessary, in my opinion, to do, and this is another movie that's not intriguing to me at all in this franchise. At number 8, I'm going with The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. So now, this I 100% agree with you on, because I see a lot of people say out of the Conjuring films, this one is the worst. And I 100% agree, but I don't have the same exact opinion like a lot of other people have. I do not care for this movie because I am not a fan of the story in this movie, and the case that Ed and Lorraine go on isn't a very memorable case. And then the main teenage boy in this movie, he gets arrested for first degree murder on his father, and then he gets put on trial because these people don't believe in ghosts and demons, and they're leaning on giving him a death sentence. And to me, that just wasn't necessary, because for one, it wasn't his fault, and two, since he only killed one person, that is not worthy of a death sentence, in my personal opinion. I don't know why they considered him getting a death sentence, as a matter of fact, but yeah. Aside from the characters that are trying to do the right thing, I don't care for any of the characters in this movie at all whatsoever, because almost everybody in this movie that's not working with the Warrens, all of these people are just saying what they invested was make believe. All of these haunted objects that they talk about and collect don't have a history of doing anything horrible. that what the Warrens discovered with this teenage guy is just false. There's no such thing as ghosts and demons. And I'm all like, why don't you believe them? This happened twice to two memorable families already in this franchise, and you're still not convinced that all of this is real? And that's just stupid. They do something similar to they do the exact same thing in the Conjuring 2 after all the events took place in the first Conjuring, but to me that's a little different because that was the first time that happened, and sometimes when it happens the first time, people are not convinced. But then when it happens several times and somebody just calls it false and they're not convinced, that's just outlandish, because it's happened. And I said this while I was watching the movie. Really, this happened twice already, and it was a pretty memorable event when it happened. And you still don't believe in this stuff. That's just stupid, because it happened several times, and nobody still nobody believes the Warrens. So yeah, this is another one I don't care for at all in this franchise. And to be honest, if they do another Conjuring movie, with Judy Warren, I hope they don't do anything like this again, because I just thought it was wrong the way in the direction they took this movie in. So now at number 7, we're getting into the okay films now, as a matter of fact. So we got past the ones that I don't like, and now we're getting into the ones that I think are okay. So at number 7, I'm going to go with The Nun, the first Nun. Excuse me. My mind was still set on The Nun 2. So at number 7, I have The First Nun. So now, I think this movie is way overhated. Is this a great or like a fantastic movie? Absolutely not. Is this a bad movie, and do I agree with the rest of the audience? Also no. I am actually in the middle when it comes to this movie, because what I like about this movie is that I like the whole prequel premise to everything that we've gotten in this universe. Because if you watch all of these movies in the order that you're supposed to watch them in, this is the first movie you're supposed to watch. And like I said, I like the whole prequel premise to this movie, and I like how it explores like more of like a memorable sequence that happened in one of the Conjuring films. But yes, this movie does feel generic. There's no denying that. But personally, I don't mind the jump scare horror movies at all. So I actually think that this movie is okay. Like I'm agreeing that it's not like a great or like an outstanding movie or anything like that, but the reason why I think this movie's okay is because there's some aspects to it that I think are good, but this is not like a movie that I'm like wanting to go back and rewatch like right away, or when I rewatch all these movies, this isn't like the number one movie that I'm like the most looking forward to rewatching. So yeah, I'm in the middle when it comes to this movie. I think it's just okay. Coming in at number 6 now, I have the first Annabelle. So So yes, this is another movie that I just think is okay. So now this is another one that that I hear a lot of people hate on because this is another one that people think is so generic. But I agree that this is the worst of the Annabelle movies, and there's no denying that this is the worst out of the Annabelle movies. But this movie's okay. Much like the first Nun, there are some certain aspects to this movie that I like because Annabelle has a pretty memorable sequence in the first Conjuring, and they said, well, she had a standout scene, so why don't we do a little bit of a spin-off about the doll Annabelle and show where she came from, as a matter of fact. And honestly, I actually like the direction that they took this movie here, as a matter of fact. But yes, this is another one that I agree that it's a generic movie, and I don't think it's like a good or like an outstanding movie or anything like that. But I disagree that this is a bad movie. This is another one that I'm like in the middle when it comes to this universe, as a matter of fact. So yeah, this movie's okay for what it delivered, as a matter of fact. Up next at number 5, from here on out, I think all of these movies are good to great now, as a matter of fact. And yes, I'm excited to talk about the next 5 movies in this franchise. So, up next at number 5, I'm going with Annabelle Comes Home. So now this movie is definitely better compared to the first Annabelle. And to be honest, this is the only Annabelle movie that is set after the first Conjuring, because the time frame that this movie takes place in, the Warrens already have captured Annabelle. She's already in her glass case, but then her daughter Judy is the standout, being babysitted by these 2 girls, as a matter of fact. And then they have to put Annabelle back in her case to like stop all of these demons and whatnot. And this was a pretty good sequel to The Conjuring, in my opinion. And what I think this movie does really well is that it sets up a potential for like a future prequel in the Conjuring universe, because what I think would make a good Conjuring movie is that if we explored like all of those like enchanted objects that the Warrens have collected, I think that would be an interesting concept, except rather than just them doing like sequel after sequel, or just doing like different prequels that a lot of people don't like. I would be interested in seeing something like that. And yes, this movie was pretty good for what it delivered. And this movie, I actually think that this movie is pretty decent, as a matter of fact. And I hear a lot of people say that this is the second best Annabelle movie, and personally, I agree, as a matter of fact. So yeah, this is a good movie for what it delivered. I like how it takes place after the first Conjuring, and the Warrens are a little bit involved with it in this movie a little bit before they leave to like go on their little vacation, and then Judy gets babysitted, as a matter of fact. Up next at number 4, I'm gonna go with Annabelle Creation. So now, this movie, this should have been the first Annabelle movie that they've done. So now, this is actually the second Annabelle movie, but this movie takes place before the first Annabelle. So, and to be honest, guys, this is actually the only movie in the Conjuring universe that takes place before the first Conjuring that I actually think that I actually think is that I would consider to be a good movie, because the only movies that take place before the first Conjuring are the first two Nun movies, and then the first two Annabelles also take place before the first Conjuring. And I only think one out of the four of those is considered to be a good movie, and it's this one. And yes, what I like about this movie is that we get Annabelle's whole backstory on where she came from, who Annabelle really is, and I just like about how we learn about all of like the different monsters and demons that she possesses when she's not in like a case or anything like that. But yeah, this movie was pretty good for what it delivered, as a matter of fact. Reaching the top 3 now, we are reaching the great movies now, and at number 3, I'm going with The Conjuring 2. So now, this is aside from the two that I have above it, this is the best one, because this movie introduces like all of these different subplots that we get like a backstory on down the line. And I think all of like the subplots that we learn about in this movie are interesting to see. And yes, what I don't particularly, one sequence that I do find upsetting about this movie is that when the little girl gets possessed and then the demon is like forcing her to jump on like a tree stump and kill her, as a matter of fact. That sequence I found a little upsetting because the demon was trying to control her and kill her, as a matter of fact, and that's what I don't like. That's the only nitpick that I would say that I have about this movie. But other than that, this movie's pretty good in my opinion. And I actually enjoy this movie just as much as the one I have at number 2. And at number 2, this might be a little controversial, but I don't know though. But at number 2, I have the first Conjuring. So now with the first Conjuring, I actually think this is just as good as the Conjuring 2. So for those of you guys that have not followed me for long enough, what I really like about movie sequels is how they pick it up from where the first movie left off. And I think The Conjuring 2 does that really well. But I give the edge to the first Conjuring, because this is just a unique concept for a horror film, and I like how like all 4 of these Conjuring movies are like based on true events, and I like how we get a summary in every one of these movies on what actually happened. Obviously the demons are not real or anything, but I'm kind of hesitant to think that they were real, because they wrote a summary about what actually happened. And I'm not saying that it was real, that it's truly real. It's just making me think maybe this stuff did actually happen. But but it's not to worry about. People have different beliefs though. But yeah, the first Conjuring, this is easily one of the best horror franchises of all time. And this movie in particular, I like the whole concept about this couple that have a daughter, and then they go ghost hunting and try to get rid of the demons out of the person's house, as a matter of fact. And I think the family that the Warrens help in this movie is pretty good with these two parents, and they have 5 daughters, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I love all the characters in this movie, and how they connect with each other, as a matter of fact. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, and this is easily one of the best original concepts for a horror film. But for me, easily coming in the first place, you guys might be a little shocked and disagree with me, but my number 1 pick is going to go to The Conjuring Last Rites. So now, I know a lot of you guys are not going to have this movie in first place. And that's okay, because that is the whole fun about doing these rankings, is that we all have different opinions. But this is easily the best movie in this franchise, and it's the best out of the 4 Conjuring movies, in my opinion, because I just love how the Warrens get sent off, as a matter of fact. And what I also like about this movie is the family that the Warrens help this time around. Like you feel so I feel like you feel so emotional with this family, because they don't know what's going on, and you hear them begging and desperately needing help from the Warrens. And out of all of the different families that the Warrens have helped, this this is easily the best family in my opinion. But another relationship I love in this movie is their daughter Judy and her boyfriend. Oh, I can't remember her name. I can't remember his name. I can't remember her boyfriend's name, but I love the relationship between the two of them, and I like how her boyfriend is trying to get along with her dad, Ed Warren, as a matter of fact, and I like the whole comedy and the commentary between the two of them as well. So yeah, there's like a whole bunch of relationships that there's like a whole bunch of relationships in this movie that I feel emotionally attached to, and this is the one movie in this franchise where I feel like you want to root for every one of these characters, and this is the first time Judy gets involved with her mom and dad, and that's also what and that's what I like about this movie as well. And one final thing that I really enjoy about this movie is that we get introduced to the Warrens' first case when they were pregnant with Judy, and they almost lost her because of the demon, and yeah, so I like how we got a little bit of a backstory on the two of them as well. But then we get introduced to the main family that I was just mentioning, and then we also have the other side of this movie, which is the Warrens. So halfway through the movie, they go back and forth to the family and then back to the Warrens, and then the Warrens actually don't get involved with the case until like halfway into the movie. And I actually kind of like that for a change, because I like how they're just like telling where the Warrens are at nowadays, and then they're setting this and then they're setting like the new family up, and you just have these two different side stories that eventually are going to get mashed together, and then we're going to see the Warrens do their one last case, as a matter of fact. And yes, even though that this is the last Conjuring movie, or at least that's what they're marketing it as, this still sets up for them to do more prequels, or they could still do another Conjuring movie, but the story would now focus on Judy instead of Ed and Lorraine, as a matter of fact. But yeah, so yes, this is Easel. This is my favorite movie in the Conjuring universe, because for once you want to root for every character in this movie. I like how it feels like you have two separate stories that eventually connect, and there's like a lot of relationships in this movie that I just feel attached to, and the relationships in this movie is what makes me want to root for these characters. And this movie easily comes in the first place in my ranking. So there you have it, guys. There's my ranking of all 10 movies in the Conjuring universe, as a matter of fact. Be sure to share your rankings down below. Again, my list is not the right list. It's just my list, and I would love to see yours, as a matter of fact. We're going to disagree, and you know what? I think I said it twice in this video already, but that's the whole fun about rankings. We all have different opinions, and our number one is going to be different. So yeah, let's be polite about it, as a matter of fact. But anyway, guys, be sure to hit that like button as well as that red subscribe button. But most importantly, make sure you press that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. But without any further ado, guys, I'm going to go bring you back to more videos, because more videos are on the way sooner rather than later, as a matter of fact, guys. But with all that being said, though, guys, take care, drink water, and stay safe. And I will see you all in the very next video. Bye.